Welcome to my world, bitch.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, it's Duke.
This is Corey.
Welcome back to another episode of Drive-In Review.
Yes, horror edition.
Are you ready for Freddy?
I'm ready for Freddy.
And the Machete?
All right, yeah. Are you ready for the Machete? So yeah, if you haven't noticed, we're doing... ouch.
Sorry.
Man. Okay. So, yeah, we're doing Freddy versus Jason. This is part 1.
Yep.
So...
I'm going to let you start since you've got the most.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so movie news. I do have... Damn it, I had some movie news. Oh my gosh. Pow. Just boom. Yeah, I know. Just punched it out of me. I mentioned the live-action Voltron last week, didn't I?
I think.
I did. Yes, I did. Okay, yeah, I have no movie news. So, I know. I'm sorry. I'm boring. All right, move on. I'll have it for next time.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's move on to Friday the 13th.
How far is it to Camp Crystal Lake? That far, huh?
Goody Camp Flood, ain't ya?
We're opening that place again?
Camp Crystal Lake has changed. Never come back again. I've seen Christy. Hey,
This is Mark.
welcome to Camp Crystal Lake. Thank you. Did he tell you anything about what happened?
No.
The 2 kids murdered in 58, boy drowning in 57, bunch of fires. Nobody knows who did any of them.
Not bad enough on Friday the 13th. We gotta have a full moon, too. We have more accidents, more rapes, more robberies, more homicides, more of everything. Full moon. Upsets me. Makes it nuts.
Milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah.
I thought I heard a scream.
I better take a look. Looking for somebody.
It's dangerous. There's been too much trouble here. No, they're all dead. They're all dead. What's going on here? Please help me. No, please don't leave me. They'll kill you too.
All right.
It's got a death curse.
So, yeah, a group of teenage camp counselors attempt to reopen an abandoned summer camp with a tragic past, but they are stalked by a mysterious, relentless killer.
Because they're singing Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just anti-religious.
Yep.
So, yeah, Friday the 13th was released May 9th, 1980. I was a year old. Not even a year old.
I was about negative a month and a half old.
It stars Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Janine Taylor, Robbie Morgan, and Kevin Bacon.
Yep. Not his first movie, by the way.
No.
I think he was in Animal House a couple years before that.
Yep. Great movie, too.
Yeah.
This was directed and produced by Sean S. Cunningham, who also is known for Spring Break from 1983.
Yep.
So, and he's done a lot of like TV series and stuff like that along the way. So, it was written by Victor Miller and Ron Kurz, and it was produced by Paramount Pictures was the production company. I think Paramount did all of them.
Okay.
I think so.
But that would make sense if they owned it.
Yeah. So,
Take that sniffle.
do you need to clear your throat?
Let me clear my throat.
And then the music for all of these was done by Harry Manfredini,
Yep.
who is also known for Spring Break and House.
Yeah.
He did 1 and 2, I believe.
Sean Cunningham also did House.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, do you remember as a kid in school reading the book Corduroy?
Oh, with the bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they made a TV movie, like a short TV short with him about the book.
Yeah.
And he did the music for that also.
Okay.
So I thought I'd throw that in there because that's just an oddball thing. He's known for horror movies, and then all of a sudden, boom, Corduroy? Okay.
Yeah.
So.
We're still talking about Manfredini?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So filming locations on this was New Jersey.
Yeah.
And it was Camp Nobabasco.
In New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And had a budget of only $550,000. But back in 1980, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Do you think it flopped?
No.
No. It grossed $59 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's worldwide.
Wow. That's twice as much as Nightmare on Elm Street.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. IMDb gave this 6.4 out of 10, and I'm having technical difficulties here. I know. Damn punching. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 66% with only a 60% audience rating, so almost even.
Mm-hmm.
Letterboxd gave it 3 out of 5. I gave this one 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one, but it's a classic. It's the original, so
Yeah.
you can't beat that.
Plus, you got Tom Savini doing the sound effects.
The makeup,
Yeah.
and the practical effects,
Right.
Yeah, you can't beat Tom Savini. Some fun facts I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list everybody that's played for Jason. I almost said Freddy. There's only one Freddy.
Robert Englund.
Yeah, I know. It's like Blade. There's only one Freddy. So I'm going to list everybody that's played Jason in each movie, because there's several. And they all do a great job. So in this one, Ari Lehman played young Jason in the original Friday the 13th. Of course, because that's what we're talking about.
He almost wasn't in the end of the movie.
So, Jason's drowning is briefly viewed via flashback, but Lehman's big moment in the film's memorable shock ending,
Yeah.
was where Alice dreams of Jason's rotting body grabbing her from her boat, which
Yeah.
I remember that ending.
And I think it was Cunningham that wanted a Carrie ending.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
Like the whole hand coming out of the ground.
right.
Yeah. It was inspired by Carrie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The movie was filmed at Camp Nobi Bosco. I said it wrong. It was Nobi Bosco in New Jersey. Like I said, the camp is still in operation as of today. And it has a wall of Friday the 13th from 1980 memorabilia to honor that movie that was set there.
Yeah. I was going to say, I bet there's a lot of tourism.
Oh, I'm sure. Could you imagine staying in one of the cabins there?
Yeah.
That would be awesome. And then it was said that if it were not for the fact that she was in desperate need of a new car. Oh, Betsy Palmer said that if she wasn't in need of desperate of a need of a new car, then she wouldn't have accepted the role of Pamela Voorhees. In fact, after she read the script, she called the movie Betsy Palmer, or she called the movie a piece of shit, basically.
Yeah, she didn't warm up to the movie until later.
Like later on. She said over the years, however, Palmer did warm up. She did warm up to the film as it made her more famous than infamous, and made appearances at conventions and documentaries and stuff like that.
Would anybody know who Betsy Palmer is if she had not filmed or starred in this film?
No, probably not. And you see that a lot in these older films. Like some of these actors, they throw themselves in a film because they need a new car or they need a house payment or they're in desperate times, right? And everything, and they completely hate the movie until like years later when it becomes a cult classic, and they're like, oh hey, all right, I'm gonna take recognition now.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that a few times in these. There's a couple actors that they completely hated the role.
I mean, when you're cast in a horror movie, you never know if it's going to flop, especially back then.
Right.
Who would have thought that Friday the 13th back in 1980 was going to do anything?
Right.
They were all playing off of the Halloween, riding the coattails of Halloween.
Yeah.
And so many horror movies were coming out after that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
If you're cast in a horror movie, it's most likely going to flop. It's not going to do, $50 million at the box office.
And then Tom Savini was one of the first crew members on board for this film because the producers idolized his special makeup effects in Dawn of the Dead from 1978.
Yeah.
While most of the cast and crew stayed at local hotels during filming, some of the most dedicated, including Tom Savini and Tasso and Stavrakis. Yeah, I hope I'm saying that right. They actually stayed in the actual campsite.
Okay. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't research him. I know, I fail. I'm a failure. I know. I'm getting punched. I'm going to end up with bruises by the end of the show.
You are my punching bag today, sir.
There was a reason you told me to put that punch button on there. And then, so they had Savini's Betamax VCR, and the only a couple of movies, which were Barbarella from '68 and Marathon Man.
Okay.
So to this day, both of them can recite both those movies word for word.
Because they had them on a loop.
Yeah, they watched them over and over again. So, and then Harry Manfredini, like I mentioned, he was the composer. He came up with the now classic, the ma ma ma.
Thanks for saying it right, by the way.
You're welcome. The vocals attached to the score, it's his voice as well.
Yeah.
So now we know where it comes from and how to say it right.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. I know.
It's they took Betsy Palmer.
Yeah.
The words kill her mommy.
Mom, yeah.
Kill her mommy.
Right. So brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That's Harry Manfredini.
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah. And then my last fun fact on this is this was inspired by both Halloween, like you mentioned, a blockbuster slasher movie, and Meatballs.
Really? Oh, well.
Because it's a teen sex comedy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for a summer camp. So that's where they got the idea for that.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right. So I thought that was a nice tidbit of information there. Like Meatballs. Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Could you imagine Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, yeah, he pops out.
So, but yeah, that's all I got for Friday the 13th.
Cool.
So yeah, are you ready for Freddy?
Are you ready for Freddy?
I am.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
worst nightmare I ever had. You wouldn't believe it.
It's amazing you saying that. That made me remember the dream I had last night. I dreamed about a guy in a dirty red and green sweater.
You dreamed about the same creep I
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
It's this guy. He's after us in our dreams.
Fred Krueger, Mom. Fred Krueger.
Freddy. That's his name, and he's in all of our heads. Someone's trying to kill us in our dreams.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
You die in your dreams. You die for real. Don't fall asleep.
Okay, so A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
A classic.
Nightmare on My Street.
So we've got a child molester who haunts the kids of the parents that killed him.
Right.
Haunts their dreams.
The vigilantes.
And I say child molester because that is what he was. There is an argument going around, always has been, that he was just a child killer.
No. He was a molester.
He was a child molester, but because of the time that this movie came out, that's not an element that they wanted to put in the movie. So basically, he just became a child killer. It wasn't until the 2010 remake that they actually came out and said that he was what he was.
Right.
So let's just get that straight off the bat.
Right.
And
he was a bad guy.
Yeah, he was a bad guy. And, you know, back in the 80s and early 90s, kids were dressing up like him, which is kind of a weird thing. Yeah.
Did you like my little color coding that I did? The red and green?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that. All right, so A Nightmare on Elm Street was released November 9th, 1984. Premiered that day, I believe, in New York. It didn't get its theatrical release until a week later on the 16th. It was released by New Line Cinema. It had a budget of $1.8 million, and it grossed $25.7 million.
And we've mentioned before that New Line is the home that built Freddy.
The house that Freddy built.
Yeah, the house that Freddy built.
Yeah.
So
it was basically going under at this time. Freddy saved the production company.
Definitely.
IMDb rated this movie a 7.4 out of 10. Letterboxd gave it a 3.7 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 94% with an 84% audience approval rating. I give it a solid 10 out of 10 slates, my friend.
Same here. I'm Freddy all the way.
Yeah. This movie was filmed in L.A. between June and July of 1984. It was written and directed by Wes Craven, produced by Robert Shea, who is the owner of New Line Cinema. I believe he produced most, if not all of them.
Yeah.
The score was done by Charles Bernstein. I don't know if he's one of the Bears, but he scored this movie.
Okay.
The makeup by David Miller.
Yeah.
And it stars Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp in his first role ever.
Right.
Robert Englund, John Saxon, and Amanda Weiss, who we know from one of my favorite movies, Better Off Dead.
Yes.
So one of the most memorable facts that I have about this movie is Amanda Weiss's character's death, Tina. At the beginning of the movie, they filmed that using a rotating room.
Yeah, the whole entire room rotated. Yeah.
So the scene where she's being dragged up the wall onto the ceiling, that was a rotating room. They used that for that scene, and they also used it for Glenn's death scene, which was Johnny Depp.
Right.
With being sucked into the bed and
then the blood spewing out. Yeah. That's my favorite scene.
Yeah, I mean, that's classic.
Yeah.
In any of the movies.
Right. And of course the bathtub scene. That one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it was one of the special effects guys that.
Yeah, he was underneath her.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't know
that's that's exactly right.
Yeah, there was like a board. She was laying on a board, and he had like a hole or something that he stuck his hand out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Also, I think one of the coolest scenes too was Freddy being caught on fire down in the basement.
Yeah.
He's walking up the steps.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that fire went on for a while. I mean, I remember seeing people say they couldn't believe that fire went on that long.
Right.
Before they extinguished it.
Now, did you sorry, I don't
go ahead.
Spoil fun facts or anything if you have any of these.
They're all in my head, bro.
Okay. So was that actually Robert Englund that they set on fire, or was that a stuntman?
No, that was a stuntman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was saying, I know Robert Englund was probably crazy enough to be like, yeah, cool, do it.
Yeah, no.
But
no, that's a Kane Hodder thing.
Yeah.
But the Glenn, back to the Glenn scene with the blood spewing out of the bed, they also used the rotating room for that as well. They turned it upside down and had the gallons of blood pouring down. Well, apparently the guy that was in there pouring the blood out through the bed, the blood hit the light fixture and actually electrocuted the dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So. Ugh. Why are you hitting me?
I don't know.
I didn't do it.
I'd pay back.
So, yeah, and I guess there were several endings to this movie. They couldn't decide which way they wanted to go, so they kind of threw a bunch of ideas together. Everybody's idea just kind of mutated into this ending that we have now, with the kids driving off in the car and the top coming down and the mom being dragged into the window.
I thought you were going to say they were wanting to do the Wayne's World ending effect, Right. What if we end it this way?
The Clue ending. Yeah.
Right.
That's how it could have happened, but this is how it actually happened.
That's cool.
So.
All the chiefs came together and said, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Curry pops out.
Hello.
So they didn't really want Robert Englund for this role because he was too short. They wanted somebody tall and menacing, but they got Robert Englund. I don't know how much taller you get than Robert Englund. He's actually 6 foot tall.
Yeah, I would say he's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Back then, that was tall, being 6 foot.
Yeah. I mean, and I know we'll talk about it later, but with Freddy vs. Jason, when that came out in 2003, Kane Hodder didn't get the role because, I think he's shorter than Robert Englund. He's 5'10" or something.
Yeah, but he's buff. He's built.
Yeah, he's the best Jason, but they wanted somebody that loomed over Robert Englund.
Right.
And they got, Ken Kersinger or whatever the hell his name is?
Yeah.
Which he's 6'7" or some shit.
Right. But yeah, so Freddy, or Robert Englund, whenever it came to getting the voice of Freddy, he stated that he didn't want it to sound like a robot.
Yeah.
And everything. So it's called the Vary scale. Whenever they slow, they'll record your voice and then they'll slow it down to make it sound more creepy and a deeper tone.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't want to sound robotic. So he said everything really fast, like his lines, really fast
Okay.
and high pitched. So when they did do the Very scale and slow it down, then you end up with the Freddy voice where it's deep, but it sounds like a normal voice. It doesn't sound robotic or anything like that.
And we don't get a lot of that in the later movies. We get more of his regular voice.
Yeah.
He's a lot more, he's a lot creepier in the first movie.
He perfected the voice afterwards, because
that makes sense.
At the beginning, it was very high pitched, and everything, because Robert Englund has a high pitched voice and everything, so it was very high pitched. So they had to use the Very scale. But as he got older and everything, he perfected it and got a deeper voice and was able to get actual Freddy. To sound like
that
Freddy.
Makes sense. I think originally Wes Craven didn't want. He wanted a villain that didn't speak, more along the lines of like Michael Myers and Jason.
Right.
But, I guess they gave him some lines, and as the movies went along, we see what we get.
Yeah.
The dark-humored villain.
So, I can do Freddy Krueger.
Yeah?
Yeah. But I don't want to.
But I don't want to.
I don't want to. I'd have to step away from the camera.
I can do it, but I don't want to.
Yeah. No, I can do it really good. Like I used to do my on when we had, back in the day back in 1980, when we had answer machines and shit and stuff. I used to record during Halloween. I would do Scooby Doo and Shaggy and everything, and then I would do Freddy and stuff. It was freaking cool. So,
I was a huge Freddy fan, man.
Oh, I was too.
I was huge.
I don't know any kid that wasn't.
Part 3 was the first one I ever saw. And I actually had to ask my mom, hey, can I... Because when I was 4 or 5, I accidentally watched some of The Exorcist, and it gave me nightmares for a year. So I wasn't really allowed to watch horror movies as a kid, and it wasn't until I was about 8 I had to actually ask my mom, hey, is it okay if I start watching horror movies? She was like, well, I guess. We'll see.
Right.
So I recorded Dream Warriors off of HBO or whatever.
Yeah,
and, that was my...
The Dream Child, I think, was the first Freddy I went to see.
Oh, really?
I think so. It was either Dream Child or Freddy's Dead. I remember seeing both of those in the theaters.
I definitely saw Freddy's Dead in theaters in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that was my first 3D experience. But that's really all I have for Nightmare on Elm Street. We can move along to Friday the 13th Part 2.
Let's do it.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those 2 others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason.
Hey, you guys, look at this.
It's Camp Blood. This place is on the same lake as we're gonna be.
It's great to have you all here at our new counselor training center. I'm sure there's one thing I don't have to tell any of you. Being a counselor isn't the gravy summer job everybody thinks it is.
It's got a death curse.
So, Friday the 13th, Part 2, happens 5 years after the events of the first film. It's a a summer camp next to the infamous Camp Crystal Lake is preparing to open, and but the legend of Jason is weighing heavy on the proceedings. This freaking fly is going to piss me the fuck off. Sorry, guys. And then this movie was released May 1st, 1981, starring Betsy Palmer, Amy Steele, John Furey, and Adrian King. And,
for a moment.
Right, for a moment. And then it was also directed and produced by Steve Miner, who also did House.
Oh, that's who did House. It wasn't Cunningham. Right.
He also is known for Warlock, Lake Placid, Forever Young, and John C. Howell's Soul Man.
Okay.
Or Tom
C. Thomas Howell.
C. Thomas Howell, not John C. Howell. What the hell?
John
C.
Riley.
I don't know what I was thinking. This
You went Riley, I went McGinley.
Yeah, this damn fly is pissing me off. I'm surprised it don't fly through the, by the microphone.
Speaking of fly, that rotating room idea also was used in The Fly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. This was written again by Victor Miller and Ron Kurz, and Sean S. Cunningham also had a part in this one in the writing, and produced by Paramount Pictures again, and Harry Manfredini as the composer. So I'm going to repeat myself a lot. So
okay,
it's okay. Filming locations in this were New Preston and Kent, Connecticut. So it was not in New Jersey.
Okay.
Had a budget of $1.25 million this time. Think it flopped? No. It did $21 million.
Okay.
Which wasn't a big, huge, gap like the first one, but still made money. And then IMDb gave this 6.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 33% with a 48% audience rating. Letterboxd gave it 3 out of 5. I gave it 6 out of 10.
Probably 7 out of 10. Okay. Maybe 7.5. The first 3 kind of run together for me.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he's got the bag on his head. This is before he gets the hockey mask.
Right.
It's kind of a rip-off of Town That Dreaded Sundown, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it was, it was the whole one eye, the whole,
yeah.
that was weird. And then, so some of the fun facts I have, if I can get my computer going right.
Is the fly fucking up your computer too?
All right, so Warrington Gillette and stuntman Steve Daskowise shared the role of Jason in this one, which featured the character wearing a sack on his head instead of the iconic hockey mask, like you just said. Still
Sorry.
Thunder, man. Gillette played Jason unmasked, while Daskowitz played him most of the other scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to co-producer Dennis Stewart Murphy, the idea to have Jason wear a burlap sack over his head in part 2 came from their costume designer, who figured it was the type of readily available item Jason could have conceivably and easily procured.
Yeah.
So, following the release of Friday the 13th, the first one, Adrian King had numerous encounters with an obsessive fan, which escalated into a stalker case, and she chose to retire from acting after this film.
Yeah.
She later returned to the profession in 2010 with the film Psychic Experiment. I'll punch myself. Right. So, let's see here. Warrington Gillette, his agent told him he had a part for a camp counselor for him named Paul, and he auditioned but didn't get the part. However, they liked him and knew he had gone to stunt school, so they asked him to be Jason.
Okay.
The first Jason scene in the movie is a shot of Jason's legs walking across the street towards Alice's home.
Yeah.
This is the only time in the series Jason was played by a woman.
Really?
Her name was Ellen Lutter, and she was the film's costume designer.
Okay.
Right. Nice legs there, Jason. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then I got a couple more. In the scene when Jason crashes into the window and grabs Ginny, the actor Warren Gillette was actually hurt. He tried to break into the window, only it didn't break. So he ended up banging his head really hard on the glass.
Oh, fuck.
So, yeah. And then the plot of part 2 shocked most people associated with the original film. Betsy Palmer, Tom Savini, and Sean Cunningham all have made public remarks about how stupid it was that Jason was alive the whole time. And if he were, then why didn't he just tell his mother that he was alive, which would have avoided all the murders in part 1 to begin with? Because we wouldn't have
a
13,
franchise.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a franchise, people. Okay.
That's exactly why.
Yeah, exactly.
Money talks, not Jason.
Right. And that's all I've got.
Okay.
So I'm glad the fly went over there to you.
Yeah.
Bugging you now.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
So, before we move on to Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I think we should announce, our podcast has evolved. Thank you, everyone, for all your support in the previous episode, Scream, which is now our top viewed show.
On YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube to date. 330 views so far. I haven't checked it recently, but just earlier this morning it was 330 views. So, and it's only been up for 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's remarkable. Thank you guys a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And given that, our podcast is constantly evolving. We're adding new stuff all the time. And we now have a website. We are, if you go to, what is it?
Is it driveinreview.com?
Yes. Driveinreview.com.
Mm-hmm.
No spaces, no dashes, nothing. Just
none of that tomfoolery.
Yeah, just driveinreview.com. It'll take you right to our website. I'm currently working on putting more stuff on there, but it tells a little bit about us and why we started this podcast and everything to begin with. And then also you can click on any of the links, the Spotify, YouTube, and our Facebook page are all right there in the front. If you click on it, it takes you directly to it. So it's basically just a main hub for you to be able to reach any of us or any of our websites that we have.
Yep.
So
you could also click on a link and it will take you straight to a camera set in Corey's bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Where is it? There you go.
Oh, that's nasty.
So, driveinreview.com. I just wanted to mention that. So,
all right, let's talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Let's do
Freddy's Revenge.
Dad, how come it took him 5 years to sell this house?
Oh, I don't know. He just couldn't get the right price, I suppose.
It is so hot in here.
You didn't know anything about the murder across the street?
Let me look at the thermostat.
You ever slept yet,
Not really.
What'd you do to your arm?
I learned it in English class.
You set this whole thing up.
God, I'm 20 years old.
What are you talking about?
You know damn well what I'm talking about.
He comes to me at night. Horrible, ugly, dirty. Under the sheets with me. Tearing at my nightgown with his steel claw.
They told me something about it.
He keeps trying to take me to the boiler room.
You knew something about this and you...
Come on, Cheryl. How do you think we got such a good deal here?
You getting any yet, Lise? Harry, he's my ride to school, okay?
Hey, Grady, you remember your dreams? Only the wet ones.
Jesse! Stop it!
No talking.
What is all this?
I did some reading on our friend Fred Krueger.
I'm fine. Just leave me alone.
Can't we at least talk about it?
No.
Go back to sleep.
What's going on? What's wrong with Jesse? He seems kind of freaked out.
I don't care if you believe me or not. Hey! I believe you.
Who is doing this to you?
Fred Krueger. You son of a bitch!
Get away from me!
Is everybody okay?
Back to me, Lisa. You've got the body. I've got the brain. You and me.
Could somebody turn down the heat in the pool?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. A lot of people don't like this movie either because it's too gay or because Freddy jumps out in real life and is no longer in the dreams, which makes no sense.
Right.
Pick your poison. Either way.
Walking through walls and everything else.
I like the movie. I don't care what people's arguments are. I've always liked this film.
Yeah.
So, it was released November 1st, 1985 by New Line Cinema. Had a budget of $3 million this time, and it grossed $30 million, more than the first one.
All right.
IMDb rated this a 5.5 out of 10. Letterboxd gave it a 2.8 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 42% with a 33% audience approval rating. I gave it 7 out of 10 slates.
I'll give it 7.5. I liked it.
Okay.
It was a little weird, but I'll give it 7.5.
I think the most memorable part in this movie was the beginning.
Yeah.
With the bus going through the desert.
Right.
And actually Robert Englund driving the bus.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. It was shot in L.A. between June and August of 1985. It was directed by Jack Shoulder. Wes Craven had nothing to do with this movie. He wanted the movie to actually be a one-and-done deal. Mm-hmm. But money speaks.
Right.
So this was directed by Jack Shoulder, who is known for Alone in the Dark and The Hidden. And if you've never seen The Hidden, I recommend it. It's a good one. It's like a alien possession type of movie. It's really cool.
Nice.
It was produced by Robert Shea again. Written by David Chaskin, who also did The Curse and I, Madman. Let me find my stuff here.
The Curse ain't a bad movie. I've seen that one.
The Curse, yeah. With, what's his name?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Oh, what's his name?
The score was done by Christopher Young, who actually did the score for movies such as Hellraiser, Species, Sinister, and Drag Me to Hell, among many others.
Right.
The makeup was no longer done by David Miller in this one. It was done by Kevin Yeager. And we talked about Kevin Yeager just a couple of episodes ago. He created the Chucky doll.
Yeah.
The movie stars Mark Patton, Kim Myers, Robert Englund, Robert Russler, the lovable Clu Gulager, and Marshall Bell.
Okay.
So, yep.
Nice.
So, like I said, this is kind of a... Some of the crew say that they had no idea that this was had so many gay overtones to it.
Mm-hmm.
Other people were like, yeah, we knew right from the get-go.
Right.
I talked to Robert Russler, who actually, because I asked him this question, he was like, yeah, I mean, we knew that. Everybody knew that. If you didn't know it, then you kind of had your head in the sand.
Right.
So the guy that wrote it, David Chaskin, he says that he wrote it with gay overtones. Well, Jack Shoulder, the director, claims he had no idea. So, whatever.
Right. Gay.
But, despite people's issues with it, I think it's a good movie. I know
Oh, yeah.
I think my biggest problem with it is the fact that Freddy does jump out at the pool party scene.
Right.
When he's in nobody's dreams, he just kind of pops out.
Yeah, all of a sudden he can come
Yeah.
to you whether you're sleeping or not.
That really just breaks all the rules.
Right.
Before and after.
I
So
think they
it
kind of
just-
shut it down after that, too. I don't think he comes back until, like, later on in real life.
Yeah, he came out in real life in the first one, but Nancy
Yeah.
dragged him out.
Right.
So, how did he get... I don't know. It just
Yeah.
doesn't... I don't know.
Don't know. And, well, maybe we'll never know. Who knows?
So, yeah.
But, yeah. All right.
I don't know, man. I just don't know, man.
Sequels aren't meant to, surpass the predecessor, so...
Well, this one certainly didn't.
No.
I mean...
I'm surprised.
I don't expect it to. The original was so good and so well done.
Yeah.
In every way.
I'm surprised that they continued after this one, actually. Even though I gave it 7.5.
Well, it
Still.
made more than the original.
Yeah, it made
so,
more than the original.
I mean,
Right.
by like $3 million, but still.
Right.
And it continued to
And I
go
think-
up and up.
Yeah, and I
with
think
every movie.
if it wasn't for Robert Englund, I don't think it would be.
Yeah, that's another thing. They were actually wanting to get somebody else. I think Robert Englund was starting to ask too much or something. I don't know. I can't remember what the issue was, but they were trying to get somebody else as Freddy, and they brought him in, and the dude was like walking around like Frankenstein and had no personality whatsoever.
Right.
And then I think it was like the producer and the director looked at each other like, yeah, there's no way we can do this without Robert Englund, so they brought him back in.
Well, that was the original storyline according to the script for Freddy Krueger. Was he was just supposed to be this monster, like Frankenstein kind of guy, kind of like Michael, just walking around, or
Yeah.
and everything. And Robert Englund was like, "No, if you want me in this, I'm gonna do me."
Yeah.
So he put personality to it and everything, and just gave it that comedic role.
Yeah, but not in this movie. He was still
Oh, yeah.
very dark.
He was.
And I think Kevin Yeager actually, he put these crazy demon animal eyes or whatever
Yeah,
in
the
him.
contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he didn't like those.
Yeah.
At all.
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
Because back then, those things were like really thick and they
Yeah.
scratched your eyeballs.
Yeah, and he said they're really expensive contact lenses, and he just didn't. He just preferred not to. He said it just looked more realistic to have his original eyes through the makeup and everything to do it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, it was just for the scene, I guess. So
Yeah. Mark Patton says that he regrets doing the dance scene in his bedroom.
Oh.
Because that really took the homoerotic overtones to a whole new level.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid watching this, none of that occurred to me.
Well, no,
it wasn't.
We didn't really know. We didn't really know anything about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really. So
In the 80s and early 90s, yeah, I didn't even think about that
Right.
being a gay thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
And it was just overtones. So it's like if it was made today, you'd probably see kissing and making out and stuff like that. And it's like
yeah, it's straight in your face now.
Brokeback Mountain.
Well, people say that this is the gayest horror movie ever made, but if you've seen some of the movies they make now,
Yeah.
it's not even overtones. It's straight up
Right.
gay horror. I mean, like, what was it? I saw the TV glow or whatever, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not ashamed of it anymore.
No. And
So.
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything else?
Nothing comes to mind.
All right.
Nothing's triggering the...
Right. Triggering the brain?
Yeah.
Well, if it does, we'll come back to it later.
Okay.
Let's get to Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D, which you're going to hear numerous times.
I did watch that in 3D, by the way. I went to Screenland and watched it in 3D. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Here's the trailer.
Weekends are a good time to escape to the woods.
With Bernie.
Unless the weekend begins with Friday the 13th. Because 13 is an unlucky number. But out here, so are 1 through 12. Because these are Jason's woods. And nobody leaves them alive. Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. Jason, you can't fight him. You can't stop him. And now, you can't even keep him on the screen. Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. Now, when it comes to killing in Jason's woods, Jason will come to you. Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. A new dimension in terror. It will scare you. Count on it.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, this is Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D.
It's got a death curse.
So, yeah. That was the most annoying trailer ever. But I couldn't find anything else.
I spaced it out the whole time.
Okay, good. Because I
was thinking about lasagna and like meatloaf.
Okay, Garfield. Calm down. So yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 3. Jason Voorhees stalks a group of friends who have just arrived to spend the weekend at a cabin near Crystal Lake. So
yeah,
all these synopses are going to be the same. People are staying in the cabin in the woods, and Jason's going to go after them.
Except this time he has a hockey mask in 3D.
In 3D. This was released August 13th, 1982, just a few days before my fourth birthday, or my third birthday.
On Friday the 13th.
Yeah. And it stars Dana Kimmel, Tracy Savage, and Paul Kratka.
Kratka?
Kratka.
Oh, okay.
Kratka.
But you said Kratka.
No, Kratka. No, not Kratka.
Kratka.
It was directed and produced again by Steve Miner. Written by Victor Miller and Martin Kitrosser. And this is hilarious. Carol Watson, who also wrote Meatballs 2.
Really?
So, yeah.
Is that the one with the alien?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was weird. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
But
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I used to like that because it would come on cable all the time.
Right.
And like, oh, it's this movie again. Okay. What the hell is it? I don't know, but let's watch it. It's fun.
Right. Again, the music was done by Harry Manfredini. And
Manfred.
Yeah, Manfred. Filming locations we're back to New Jersey again, and also California. And
yeah, California too. Okay.
Yeah, and then it had a budget of $2.3 million.
No, it didn't flop.
No, it grossed $36 million.
And more than the last one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And IMDb gave this one 5.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes only gave it 11% with a 42% audience rating.
What?
Yeah. And Letterboxd gave it 2.7 out of 5.
Okay.
I only gave this one 6 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't care for this one too much.
Like I said, the first three kind of blend together for me. I give it 7.5 out of 10 slates.
Alrighty.
Or clapboards.
British stuntman Richard Brooker,
R.I.P.
was Jason in this film.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yes.
He died of a blood infection or something like that.
Something like that.
Mm.
Like anemia or something.
Something.
Yeah. He finally acquires the hockey mask, as you said, from luckless victim Shelley.
Yeah, the prankster.
Yeah. And then, despite taking place shortly after the events of Part 2, Brooker's Jason bears little resemblance to the previous movie. So,
Okay.
of course, because he's got a hockey mask, not a bag over his head now.
No.
So, of course, he ain't going to look the same. Duh.
LaDerp.
Yeah. The house, barn, and lake were all purpose-built on location. The man-made lake wasn't properly sealed, and subsequently, the water drained into the soil during the first week of filming.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that happens.
Crystal Lake just disappeared. This was the first of the Friday the 13th films to use the iconic hockey mask, which has been in every sequel since.
Yep.
So, it won. The Royal Independent Movie Theatre in Toronto, Canada, which closed in 2006, had owned one of the few copies of the movie in its original 3D format.
Okay.
They used to screen the film once every Halloween.
Okay.
So, thought that was kind of cool. Lost my place.
If you get a chance to watch it in 3D,
yeah,
definitely do that. It's
okay.
It makes the experiment the experience so much better.
Gotcha. All right. The film was released, like you said, on Friday the 13th, so that made it more intense.
Yeah.
And then Tracy Savage quit acting after this and earned a journalism degree. She became a reporter, but continued to receive fan mail from Friday the 13th fans through her entire career. So she went on to be a journalist.
She gets letters that just say "nice boobs."
Yeah, I guess because Tracy Savage said decades later that she was very uncomfortable performing her nude scenes. But joked that now she looks back in fondness because it reminds her how great her body used to be.
I had a feeling that was the reason.
So, and that's all I got for Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D.
In 3D. Okay.
So.
All right, well, let's talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
Tell me about the kids.
Well, they're survivors in a way. They seem to share a group delusion, a boogeyman, for lack of a better word. They're so traumatized that they'll do almost anything not to sleep.
I want us to talk about what happened last night. I want us to all get our feelings out in the open.
I could see him up there. His face. He was wide awake. All the way down.
What if I told you that your patients are in real physical danger from their dreams? Oh my God. Your parents, my parents, they burned them alive. And now we're paying for their sins. You are the last of the Elm Street children.
Fred Krueger is dead.
We have to stay together whatever happens. It's the only way we can beat him. Me too.
Let's go kick the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland.
It's now or never. This is as dangerous as it gets. If you die in this dream, it's for real. Let's dance. Have you ever done that before? Pull someone into your dream?
Now listen to me. I don't know if you care whether Nancy lives or dies, but I do.
And all my hope is gone.
That does not sound like an 80s song.
No, it was a modern trailer.
Okay. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, is many people's favorite of the franchise. Me personally, like I said, I like the original the best.
Yeah.
This is right up there with Part 4. I have a real fondness for Part 4. So, this one and Part 4 are my second favorite.
Okay.
I would say Part 4 and then this one, but they're kind of like neck and neck.
Right, right.
Dream Warriors was released February 27th, 1987 by New Line Cinema. It had a budget of $4.5 million. You think it grossed? Or
I hope it grossed something. It was definitely gross. No, it did not flop.
Okay, it did not. It made $44.7 million.
Nice.
IMDb gave this a 6.7 out of 10. Letterboxd gave this a 3.5 out of 5. And Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 68% with a 68% audience approval rating. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave it 8.
Okay.
It was better than the second one, that's for sure.
How long has it been since you've seen this one?
Dream Warriors, maybe 10 years.
Okay.
Probably.
Which one have you seen the most recent?
The most recent was Freddy's Dead, and the original. They've been playing it on TV a lot.
Okay.
So,
Dream Warriors was filmed in L.A. between October and November of 1986. It was directed by Chuck Russell, who did The Blob, 1988's The Blob,
right.
The Mask, and...
With Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not Mask.
Okay.
With Cher.
Right. And Eric Schultz.
Yeah. Stoltz.
Yeah.
The Mask with Jim Carrey, and Eraser.
Oh, okay.
With Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
It's produced by Robert Shea, written by Wes Craven and Bruce Wagner, and also the script was helped by Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont.
Okay.
Who we know as the director from The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
The score was done by Angelo Badalamenti.
All right.
Who's done the score for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Twin Peaks, and Cabin Fever.
Nice.
Makeup, again, was done by Kevin Yeager, and this movie stars Heather Langenkamp, who returns, as well as John Saxon, and Robert Englund. But now we have Patricia Arquette, Jennifer Rubin, and Bradley Gregg, as well as Lawrence Fishburne.
Nice.
Who is actually billed as Larry Fishburne.
Right, right.
So, I think on this one they had a rushed shooting schedule, but they knocked it out of the park. I mean, I think one of the best scenes is the Freddy snake that comes out from the floor.
Is that where he eats Patricia Arquette?
Yeah, tries to eat Patricia Arquette. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
They made like 3 different sculptures. One for like a close-up of his face. The other one for like when it came up out of the ground and grabbed her.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's one of the best in the franchise.
Nice.
Along with the bed scene in part 1.
Right, right.
And also in part 4 with Joey. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
The waterbed scene with Joey.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what other... I mean, there's so many great scenes from this movie.
Yeah.
You know, you got Jennifer Rubin fighting Freddy with her mohawk and the knives.
Right.
Want to get high. And then, like, yeah.
No, this one was done well.
The suckling mouths on her arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great movie. A lot of memorable scenes. A lot of great actors.
Right. There's an interview that Robert Englund did, and I'm just basing this off of memory. The makeup artist Yeager,
Kevin Yeager,
yeah, Kevin Yeager. Every morning, it would take like 4 hours for him to get into the Freddy makeup and everything, and so they would just sit there and drink coffee and talk and
probably
whatnot.
Robert Englund doing the most talking.
Yeah,
because he was a jabberjaw.
Yeah, and by the time actually, I mean, Kevin Yeager was a talker too. So like by the time, you know, the 4 hours were up and he had all the makeup in, he was worn out. He was irritated.
Yeah.
So he already had that Freddy mentality and everything ready to go and stuff. And then
ready to kill some teenagers.
So after filming, they would go out and he would stay in the Freddy costume, and he would go out in the streets and come out like lurking in the dark and stuff, and had a hoodie on and everything, and then he would just like pop out and like flash, you know, and stuff, and scare people, and then he'd go back to his trailer, and he fell asleep one night and didn't take the makeup off because they had to shoot early the next morning. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go to sleep." He woke up the next morning and he had a mirror right there, and he woke up, forgot that he had the makeup on, and literally scared himself as Freddy. He's like, the most hideous thing I've ever seen. First time ever that he's ever scared himself.
That's funny.
So I thought that was kind of cool that he mentioned that kind of thing.
Now, there's one thing I forgot to mention about Part 1 and Johnny Depp. And that, like I said, that was his first role. And it was Wes Craven's daughter that actually got him the role, because she thought that he was just the most beautiful man to ever walk the earth.
Oh, yeah. He had,
and she was like, Dad,
blonde hair. And,
if you do not hire this man, I'm going to move out and run away. So that's a fun little fact.
Now, you met him and everything. So is he just as gentle as he seems? Robert Englund.
I met him during a photo op.
Okay.
I didn't actually go in and talk to the man.
Right.
Twice I tried. The first time you had to get these tickets to get into the line to talk to him, because they limit his line because he talks to his fans. He'll sit there and talk to you for like 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
So you have to get these tickets beforehand. Well, I didn't get that the first time. Second chance I got there, I got a ticket, and he ended up leaving early because he wasn't feeling well. So I haven't actually got to meet him.
Right.
But I stood next to him and touched him, which I was actually afraid to do.
A little intimidated?
Yeah, I was very intimidated. Yeah. But we were like third in line for that photo op, and I had my son with me, who at that time, I think he was like 9, 10...
Yeah, something like that.
11, something like that.
Robert Englund didn't care for him at first, did he?
Well, we were standing right next to the door, and Robert Englund walks in and immediately looks at Perry,
right,
points at him, and walks over to him, leans down and says, "Wrong T-shirt, punk." He had a Friday the 13th T-shirt on.
Right.
And Perry he starts bawling, and I'm like, "Did you get your feelings hurt? What is it?" I'm like,
right.
No, he was just overwhelmed with the fact that Robert Englund
called him a punk.
Walked up to him right in his face,
right,
with his finger pointed right in his face. "Wrong T-shirt, punk."
That's awesome, though.
But yeah, and everybody around us was like laughing their ass off, like, "Wow, this kid!" And they're like, "You're such a lucky kid."
Yeah, that's a great story.
And I grabbed a picture of Perry too, crying right after it happened. He was just like, "Oh my God."
That's awesome. Yeah,
memorable, very memorable moment.
Yeah, he said that he enjoys talking to his fans and enjoys, he said one of the first things, the main thing that he hears all the time, he loves hearing it, is that, this franchise has become a family event, where parents are watching it with their children now, and introducing them to Freddy Krueger and everything. So it's just been, an ongoing thing, and, it's not, oh my God, you used to, haunt me in my nightmares and all that and everything. It's I've showed my son this now, and he absolutely loves you, and stuff like that. So he really enjoys hearing the stories and the history.
Oh yeah,
between it. And
I have so many stories I could tell that man if I could just sit down and talk to him for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to that point where we can actually do interviews. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I said, this movie here, Dream Warriors, was the the movie that got the horror ball rolling for me. It wasn't the first horror movie I saw.
Right.
Because beforehand I had seen like House and Maximum Overdrive and stuff like that. But this was the one that got that moving forward in my horror fandom.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I wish I could.
I still want to talk about
him.
Maximum Overdrive. I'm still trying to think of a follow-up episode that we can do. Maybe it's just going to have to be a random
movie
for next year.
Maybe Stephen King adaptations.
There you go.
And we do like Thinner and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can do that next year. Spoiler alert, guys. Next October, Stephen King. So, all right.
Cool.
Do you have anything else?
No, let's talk about the final chapter.
Yeah. So
Friday the 13th.
So they thought.
4.
So they thought.
Three times before, you have felt the terror, known the madness, lived the horror. But this is the one you've been screaming for. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Jason is back. He moves like a shadow, dark and silent.
Now you change your mind?
He never utters a word. He doesn't even seem to breathe.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
He simply, mindlessly, mercilessly kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Friday, April 13th, is Jason's unlucky day.
Was this narrated by William Shatner?
I doubt it. So this is the movie that we find out that Crispin Glover is a dead fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, after being announced dead and taken to the morgue, Jason Voorhees spontaneously revives, escapes from the hospital and stalks a group of friends renting a house in the countryside near Crystal Lake. Okay. Blah, 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 blah.
Yana, yana, yana.
Like the trailer said, this was released April 13th, 1984, which was Friday the 13th, again. And it stars Corey Feldman, Kimberly Beck, and Crispin Glover.
Yep. Ted White as Jason.
Thank you. Damn it. Steal my thunder. So this one was directed by Joseph Zito,
who also did The Prowling.
The Prowler. And he also did Missing in Action with Chuck Norris.
Yeah, okay.
And Red Scorpion.
Okay, with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah. So this was written by Victor Miller, Ron Kurz, and Martin Kitrosser again. Produced by Robert and Lisa Barsamian. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Something. Barsamian, there you go. Music again by Harry Manfredini.
Manfred.
Yeah, Manfred. Harry Manfred. That just sounds perverted. I got a Harry Manfred. Gay. The filming location for this was California. Yeah, they moved away from the West Coast.
Yeah,
went to East Coast and went to West Coast.
Right, the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around. They had a budget of $2.6 million, grossed $33 million.
Okay.
IMDb gave it 6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it only 21% with a 52% audience rating. Rotten Tomatoes don't like Friday the 13th.
Rotten Tomatoes sucks anyway. I don't know why we utilize that website.
I don't know. Because of the audience rating.
Yeah.
It's so, off chart.
Yeah, who cares what the critics think? They're
Right.
obviously going to hate.
Well, we care what, we want them to care what we think because we're critics too.
Not really.
I mean, we're giving our rating, so we're criticizing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Come on now. It defeats the purpose.
Don't put me in that category.
Right. We're the next Siskel and Ebert, man. Come on.
Okay.
My rating was 6 out of 10 on this one.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
This is my second favorite of the franchise.
Okay.
I think Ted White did an amazing job as Jason. I think it's just more memorable than a lot of the other ones. Also, Tom Savini does the makeup effects for this movie. So
yeah. I don't know, I just kind of went with the ratings. I haven't watched this for a long time, so I'd have to rewatch it, and I'd probably change my mind a little bit on it. But I just figured, 6 out of 10, break even, basically. I didn't want to score it any lower than that because I don't think any of these movies deserve lower than a 5. So
yeah, you need to rewatch it.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
It's worth it. It's one of the better ones, in my opinion.
All right. Stuntman Ted White, like you said, or you stole my thunder, took over the role of Jason in this one, which was intended as the end of the series. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't?
No. White was admitted, or was admitted.
He was admitted after the filming of this movie.
He admitted to being reluctant to take the role and went uncredited for this until years later. Then he's like, oh hey, okay, this is one. He's considered one of the best Jasons.
Yeah, and he was old as shit too. I think he was like in his 50s or something when he did this, because he's been acting since the 1950s.
Right.
He was like John Wayne's stunt double and shit. So.
Oh yeah, he was built.
Yeah.
So. 58 years old at the time.
Yeah.
There you go. Ted White is the oldest stuntman / actor to portray Jason.
Okay.
White, who died October 20,
couple years
2022.
ago.
Yeah. He was the longest lived cast member at 96.
Nice.
So
I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah.
I do have his autograph on my Jason mask. I never got to meet the guy because he wasn't doing conventions anymore.
Right.
But I found his website online, and it just says, send your merchandise to this address with the $40, certificate or whatever, and I'll sign it and send it back to you. So I did. I wrapped up my mask, mailed it to him, and like a week or two later, it came back.
Nice.
His autograph on it.
Hell yeah.
And that was 2019, I think I did that. So I caught him
just before,
2 or 3 years before he died.
Wow. And it doesn't say what he died from.
Old age.
Old age. Yeah, 96. I mean, come on. This was the last film in the series to pick up immediately where the previous film left off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was supposed to be the final film. They weren't planning on making several more after this. But they did. And we'll get to that.
Next time.
Yeah. Though he disliked being involved in the film, Ted White is considered by many fans to be one of the best Jasons. I already said that.
You just said that.
I know. It's in a
Move
different...
along.
I know.
God.
Let's see here. At the time, this installment... I just said that too. Oh, no.
Oh, good Lord.
No. Okay. At the time, At the time, this installment of the series contained the most nudity and gore.
Really?
Yeah. At the time.
Okay.
Again, Ted White. There's a lot of fun facts about Ted White.
Cool.
Kudos to him.
No, I like that.
Ted White refused to talk to the other actors during production. Sound familiar?
To make it more intimidating.
Going back to Roger Roger L. Jackson with Scream.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, just to get their natural reaction, and because he thought socializing with them would diminish the fear of Jason. So that's kind of
that was his idea.
That was his idea.
That's cool.
So the film, I already said this too. The film was released Friday the 13th, April 13th, 1984. I know, man. Okay, one final fact I got. Last one, I swear, and it's not a repeat. Jason actor Ted White and special effects artist Tom Savini at first were confrontational with each other. They didn't get along. Yeah, they didn't get along. But
two strong personalities.
Yeah, but once they found out, once White found out Savini had experience in with stunts and everything, then the two became friends.
Okay.
So he's just like, who the fuck is this Tom Savini guy? Like, I don't know you. You don't know anything about me.
I doubt Ted White was sitting around watching horror movies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just watch Maniac.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I'll watch Maniac.
Yeah.
Classic. Exploding his own head.
Right. And that's all I got.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is it for part 1 of Freddy versus Jason. Okay. What the hell, man? Snap out of it.
Oh, ah! Oh!
So, all right. You
Gotta
got anything else to add?
Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass.
Try it, bitch.
Hey, not bad.
Told you.
All right. Now I'm scared.
So, all right. Well, tune in next time for part 2, Freddy's versus Jason.
Peed a little.
Did you?
Yeah, just a lot of pee.
Oh, now you're going to attract more flies. Yeah. And you pissed Rex off in there. He's barking.
He smells the urine.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, my little piglet. I'm Freddy. That's right. The man of your dreams is back.